वहां थोड़े कायदे कानून पक्के होने लगे तो हमने सिंगापुर को फंड करना शुरू कर दिया। वहां कुछ और होने लगा तो हमने और केमन आइलैंड और 50,000 छोटी छोटी आइलैंड्स ढूंढ ली उनको फंड करने के लिए। इतनी तो हमारी कमजोर अर्थव्यवस्था थी। अपने यहां लोगों को गरीब करते गए और बाकी सबको आबाद करते गए। तो ये क्या धर्म आधारित अर्थव्यवस्था है? जिसने कमाया, जिसकी मेहनत, जिस गरीब खेत किसान शोषित मजदूर, उसके लिए तो आपकी कोई अर्थव्यवस्था नहीं है। और जब इस तरीके की अधार्मिक अर्थव्यवस्था में आप काम करेंगे तो आप कैसे उम्मीद कर सकते हैं कि गॉडलेस मोरालिटी का, धर्म का आप पालन कर रहे हैं? तो उस अर्थव्यवस्था को ठीक करने के लिए अभी तक जितने काम हुए, जीएसटी, डिमोनेटाइजेशन, जनधन के खाते, it's all related. It's all completely related. Because a country which in 70 years only had 14 crore bank accounts. How just is that? How just is that? This country did not even give bank accounts to its own people. And it is unfair. It is against the law. And law not the present laws of economic fora which were working, but the law of God or law of morality and godless morality. It is unfair to exploit people, get their money and stack it outside the country. It is immoral. Who are we working for? And that's where I feel the change has happened. That's where I feel 32 crore bank accounts have been opened just in a span of 4 months. Neither have the banks changed, nor have the officers changed. Who changed? The government changed and decided to give this benefit to its own people. That people who represent, or who I represent as a country, as a public representative, should have their bank accounts so that transactions become transparent. They can get access to government funds, because end of the day, this government or any government has to work for its own people. So this was about Jan-Dhan accounts. Demonetization, again related to stacking of money outside the country, stacking of money in the hands of few people. विकेंद्रीयकरण, जो महेश जी ने अपनी भाषा में, अपने भाषण में हमको बताया, वही कि कुछ लोगों के हाथ में अगर सत्ता केंद्रित है, कुछ लोगों के हाथ में अगर अर्थव्यवस्था केंद्रित है, तो आप कैसे खुशहाल देश बनाएंगे? 125 करोड़ का देश है ये, और उसमें मात्र 1 या 2 करोड़ लोग, 1-2 करोड़ भी मैं ज्यादा बोल रही हूं, कुछ लाख लोग इस देश के 125 करोड़ की मेहनत को कब्जा करेंगे। और आप शांति की बात करेंगे, आप बात करेंगे कि गोल 16 कैसे अचीव हो? Impossible. And that is what is integral humanism. That every part, if one part is paining, how is the body not going to react? Body has to react. Because if a toenail is hurting, the pain is here. And that pain here is getting transmitted to the whole body. I'll not be able to eat, I'll not be able to sleep, I'll not be able to focus, because a toenail is hurting. And this is not toenail, this is the whole body of 125 crore Indians who get nothing in return. And few lakh people will control the entire Arthvyavastha. Not happening. So that change is what we've worked at. And demonetization was definitely a part of that. Now, what has been achieved, what has not been achieved is debatable. Because each one will look at, if you're not looking at the holistic approach and you're looking at only certain aspects, obviously there will be some kind of disillusionment. But the moment you start looking at the larger picture, you know how much good demonetization has done. You know exactly how many people's accounts have come forward and how many cars are in the city of Delhi, end of the day. That many taxpayers you don't have in Delhi. The funny part is there will be more than 1 crore of cars in this city. You don't have 1 crore taxpayers in this city. So where is the money going? Where is the money coming? And ultimately the wrong tax policies, because governments have to run and there is some burdensome feature of paying salaries and paying for offices and all that, and that's a huge burden. So the taxes will be collected unethically, will be collected illegally or in an unnatural format, and your tax system is completely awry for that reason. GST was very, very important. That let it be transparent. Let everyone know if I have a cup of coffee, how much money I have paid for the coffee, how much money has gone towards the beans, how much has gone towards the services, what is the service tax. And I don't have to pay over and above that. So, dharma, arth. Now, only if you have the righteous path to achieve the right economic policy of the country determines what we are going to be. And in that sense, all the changes which are happening, I have one more thought to share. And that thought is about the unorganized sector. Unorganized Indian who's running a tea stall, unorganized Indian who's running a flower shop, unorganized sector which is maybe a tailor, maybe a beautician, all those sectors which do not find place in the organized economy contribute to more than 52% of GDP. And not a single policy since 47 until about 68, 69 years of independence, we had no policy to cater to their needs. 52% of GDP and no catering is what was happening in this country till 2014. So Mudra Bank to all the loans which you're getting through the banks and the facilities which are where you are picking up women, where you're picking up SC/ST women, so reaching the unreached has been the policy of this government. And disability sector, not recognizing disables, not recognizing certain form of disability is what was happening before. Now all these people who have not been catered to for 70 years, how do you expect to achieve SDGs? You cannot achieve SDGs because SDGs only give a superficial network, and the depth is what Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji taught. Everybody is interconnected. You can't be happy if your staff is unwell. That tuberculosis incidence is a perfect example. And we can have 20 different examples of that nature. Somebody's got a pain in the leg, somebody's got pain in the neck, right arm's not working, has got some neural disorder. How do you think you will run your office? How will you run your home? So basic necessity of insurance, pension, Atal Pension Yojana, Deen Dayal, Gram Smriddhi Yojana, all those yojanas are reaching the unreached, and that's where the change in Arthvyavastha has to happen. Next, dharma, arth, kam. Now kam is not only a sensory or sensual pleasure which half the time people look at it, but it is any form of sensory pleasure. Wearing good clothes, eating good food, taking a Mobla pen, it's all sensory pleasure, something which is good for your eyes, something you enjoy, something you like. But what does it come with? In our righteous philosophy, and I find not one, but many Indians, many Indians who are really well off, who come from absolutely rich backgrounds, but they will always have this guilt, a sense of correct behavior. And I was reading that example just 2 days back, and I must share that. That was Mr. Parikar's statement, where he said, I travel economy, and it's very comfortable, it's not kettle class. So I laughed to myself, because he also said, when I was not a CM, I used to travel business. So I laughed, because I felt that as a public representative, there has to be a sense of propriety and correct behavior. And with this sense of propriety and correct behavior, it sometimes gets a little harsh. Not about your affordability, but it's about your public perception. That you indulge in certain optics. It's not about affordability. Because when you become responsible for so many people, and then when people like me are faced with that VIP culture kind of a thing, I always look at them and I say, look, what are you giving me? The salary you give me is what person like me would earn in half hour of court appearance, maybe more than that. And you give me 32 tickets. And those 32 tickets are business class tickets, but we all travel by Indigo, which does not have the distinction between, I think I'm overrunning the time, so I will cut this story short and we'll have this over a cup of tea or something. But I'll focus on the job at hand. So dharma, arth, moksha. Kam, moksha. So kam is about enjoying the good things in life. So nobody is saying you don't enjoy, but it comes with the rider, and the rider is Ken Takten Bhunjita. Not just Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji, but Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji has simplified the philosophy. Be responsible for the consumption. And that's where Mr. Parikar's statement comes into click. Be responsible when people in your constituency don't have drinking water. People you are representing, and after 70 years we are unable to give drinking water. We are unable to give housing, so Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. We are unable to give roads, gram, sadak, so on and so forth. Of course, Mr. Gadkari is doing a fab job of almost reaching, I mean, he's crossed 30 plus mark and he wants to make it 40 plus kilometer per day. That many kilometers is the target he's working at. So basically giving the basics to people. And moksha. So if you do the right things all your life, that's where spirituality comes in. I feel good if I've done one good job a day. I feel good if I have distributed, if I've managed to get a CSR guy to fund a camp in my area and I'm able to distribute aids and appliances to disabled and mentally challenged people. I feel good. And that is what spirituality is all about. Do the right deed. So, right deed is what takes you to moksha. You don't have to leave your job and other things and reach moksha. So, Ken Takten Bhunjita, be responsible for the consumption you do. And that's where I look at the perspective. The SDGs give us the horizontal view, and Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji's perspective on Antyodaya and integral humanism, looking after the last woman in the last road or last line, is what gives us the depth of where our philosophy should take us, and philosophy should be reflected in the actions we take, and that's how the society can change. And I just pray to God that society changes the way we all dreamt about, and the kind of revolution we brought in 2014 is one way of changing that social setup, and is the way to change that social mindset. And I just pray that happens. And we are able to achieve whatever we set ourselves for. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.